All right, you ready to go on a little adventure? Of course you are. This is a power ranking of all the WWF, WWE, WCW, and some ECW wrestlers. And man, oh man, does it get spicy. I did this the other night while streaming, and the conversation was fluid. It was non-stop. Lots of justifications why this person should be here, why this person should be here, and I would love to hear why you think your list is better than mine down in the comments. This is a giant power ranking of like 100 different wrestlers, and it takes a while, but make sure you stick around and listen to every single one. I feel like I justified each one, pretty okay, but obviously my thoughts are going to be they're going to differ from yours. So watch through the entire thing. If you need to, pause it, come back to it. It's a long video, but it's worth the journey. Enjoy the ride, hit the thumbs up, and of course, comment, and if you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I would love to do more of these videos just like these power ranking videos. Have fun. All right, let's start off. Finn Balor, the first ever WWE Universal Champion. Did you know that? Of course you did. You're a smart wrestling fan. Finn Balor is one of those guys, probably, he's aided by having one of the best entrances probably ever in wrestling, outside of Glorious. But alas, I think Finn Balor in the grand scheme of things is a really outstanding wrestler. Bullet Club guy, like superstar. Also in NXT, but he has great matches wherever he goes. I'm going to start Finn Balor off just as a B tier because I think that he is, I'm going to say he's underperformed throughout his career. Sandman. Sandman is kind of a one-trick pony, right? Let's just be real about that. Sandman is a dude who was a star in ECW, but went in and hasn't really done much anywhere else outside of drink beer and cut himself in the forehead. I'm going to say simply because he was a stud in ECW, he was a C tier. The $1 Million Man. $1 Million Man. What a gimmick he had, man. What an awesome gimmick. I love it. Super fun guy to watch. Paying off young kids. I mean, what a great heel this guy was. And what a great life lesson. Don't be like the $1 Million Man. I am going to say the $1 Million Man is going to be a B tier. Now, this is one thing you're going to notice throughout this list. I will rank them inside of this. I think Finn Balor is better than the $1 Million Man. But the $1 Million Man, what a great gimmick right there. I love it. I love it. Danger Doom coming in with that Prime sub for 3 months. 10 total months. Thank you so much, Danger Doom. All right, next we got an all-time classic wrestler. We're going to go with The Rock. Total stud A tier wrestler. Maybe S tier. Now, here's the thing about my S tier. There's 4. This is my Mount Rushmore. So I'll tell you, I'm going to put him there for now. I'm going to put him there for now, and he may get bumped off later. Okay? So we're just going to go from there. Rock is going to start as an S tier wrestler, but he may be bumped down because I'm only going to do 4 in the S tier. That's my Mount Rushmore. Okay? All right, Ultimate Warrior here. Ultimate Warrior, man, talk about an unbelievable heater of a run he went on for a while. Absolute stud. What crazy gimmick, horrible wrestler, and apparently a horrible person while he was wrestling. I guess a lot of people didn't really like him. I'm going to say, just for the sheer gimmick, and he was a world champion, so I'm going to put him above $1 Million Man, but below Finn Balor. The Lex Express, good old Lex Luger. I was never a big Lex Luger fan. I know he was a world champion as well. And he was like the next Hulk Hogan. But I'm going to go with a C. I don't really think he was like super spectacular. I've never really liked him. Roddy Piper. Now we're talking. A tier. Roddy Piper is such a great bad guy. Was such a great, yes, rest in peace, Roddy. But one of the first guys to break out of wrestling and do his own thing in, what is it, They Live, the movie? I think it was awesome. Awesome to hear. John Cena! You love him, you hate him. He's absolutely an A tier. I don't think he's S. Now, I realize that he carried an entire generation. But, I'm going to put him at S tier for now. I am. I'm going to put him behind The Rock. I think The Rock, if he was in during the WWF Attitude Era, he would have been able to hang. I do think he would have been able to hang. I just don't think that people would have bought into the gimmick, because he wouldn't have been so geared towards kids. But I'm going to keep him S tier for now. But I see some, Cena sucks. Cena's awesome. That's the point. People love him or they hate him, and that's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you want. Yokozuna, man. I think Yokozuna is really, really an amazing character and fun. I remember playing against him in like the Super Nintendo version of WWF WrestleMania or something. I don't know. It was only one of those really bad wrestling games. I'm gonna put him above the. No, I'm gonna put him behind the $1 Million Man. Because I think I am. I think I'm gonna go $1 Million Man. Tommy Dreamer. Okay. Same as Sandman. He's done more. I'm actually gonna put Tommy Dreamer above Sandman, but no, I'm going to put him above Lex Luger. I sure am. I'm going to put Tommy Dreamer above Lex Luger just for the longevity purpose. Tommy Dreamer, I think, is like still wrestling or something. I don't know. Yeah, ECW original, that's fine, whatever. All right, Chris Jericho. This is where things are kind of amazing. You would think he's absolutely A tier, but for this right now, I'm going to go S tier. Once again, there's only going to have 4 by the time we're done. Mick Foley. Mick Foley was able to make an entire career out of being a pincushion. Now, obviously, he could talk with some of the best of them, give some of the best promos. It actually was one of the biggest turning points in the WCW WWF Monday Night War. I'm going to go with an A-tier wrestler for Mick Foley. I still think Roddy Piper, in the grand scheme of things, was better than Mick Foley. Give it up for Kairos coming in with the raid of 7. That's awesome. Welcome on out, guys. Thank you guys very much. That's amazing. If you guys are coming in from the raid, make sure you say hi. Really appreciate that. By the way, I love that you guys are so active in the chat about this. This is great. Love it. If you guys are coming in from Kairos' raid, make sure you say hi. Imity Free, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate that. And Danger Doom, thanks so much for resubbing Prime for 3 months. I really appreciate that as well. All right. But yes, obviously the iconic Hell in a Cell match getting tossed off. I mean, he's A tier just for what he did to his body. I mean, good Lord. Amazing. Abdul the Butcher kind of has a gimmick of like putting forks on his head and stuff. He's a D tier, sorry, but he's a notable guy, D tier. He's just kind of like a big dude who chopped up his forehead. Jake the Snake Roberts, my God, one of the best heels in history. I'm going to go with an A tier for Jake the Snake, just for the simple fact of him being able to say so much without saying a thing when just with his eyes. Amazing. And yes, he's obviously he's had all sorts of abuse issues and stuff, but he's been able to conquer them thanks to DDP and being in his corner. I think that's really spectacular. Evan says, for me, S tier would have to be for guys who change the industry, who have single-handedly been able to sell out arenas based off their name alone. Absolutely. I 100% agree. 100% agree. I think it's great. RVD. Okay, so RVD is an interesting guy, man. Super fun to watch in the ring. When he was Mr. Monday Night on WWF, WWE, I mean, he was an incredible wrestler to watch, especially when he was an ECW dude. I like him. I think he's right here with Finn Balor. I think he is right there. I think actually Finn Balor, just based off the WWE Universal title, I think that puts Finn Balor above Rob Van Dam. But Rob Van Dam had some incredible moments. I think by the time we're done, you'll look at this and go, yeah, okay, I think you're right. But who knows? All right, Shinsuke Nakamura. Man, talk about a great entrance. Now, we're going to talk about his... Now, look, I'm going to be the first to tell you, I don't know the entire lineage of his career. I know, obviously, Japan and WWE, and he was a big free agent who came over. He's incredibly fun to watch. I'm going to say he's right here with the B tier. And once again, some people are like, A tier, blah, 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 blah. Once again, everybody's ranking is going to be different, but that's what makes it beautiful. So I'm going to keep him right here. And I think right behind RVD, but above Ultimate Warrior. Stone Cold Steve Austin. GOAT. Bingo. 1. I mean, come on. What are we even talking about? Like, if Stone Cold's not in your S tier, what are we even doing? Okay, so this is where things are going to get a little messy here. We can only have 4 S tiers. Okay? That's my rules. That's what I'm going to stick with. That's my route. Okay? So we'll get to that. Someone's going to get bumped off here. And they may end up down in A. So don't get upset. Dean Malenko. Man, okay. Part of the Radicals when he came over from WCW with Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and the other one. Oh, Perry Saturn. That's right. He's like a really good, serviceable dude. You know, yeah, he's been able to make a career out of it. I'm gonna say he's right here behind Lex Luger, but above Sandman. Because I think more people, and maybe I'm wrong. No, you know, I think I'm wrong on this. Yeah, I think I am wrong. I think more people would pay to see Sandman than they would Dean Malenko. Because Dean Malenko is just kind of a dude, you know? And he was definitely... Saturn was the weakest of the Radicals. Then it was Dean Malenko, right? Then you had Benoit and Guerrero when they came over from WCW. Arn Anderson. Okay, Arn Anderson, part of the Four Horsemen, right? Obviously. But, you know, I think he was a dude who benefited from being around other people. I think Arn Anderson, once again, an outstanding dude, a wrestler. I think more people would pay to see Arn Anderson than they would during his day. I think more people would pay to see Arn Anderson than they would. Yeah, I think more people would pay to see Arn Anderson than they would the $1 Million Man. Ric Flair. Uh-oh, here we go. He's moving on up. Ric Flair. Is he the GOAT? I don't know, but he's going to go up here. And guess who gets bumped down? I think that he is. I think Ric Flair put more butts in the seats, did more for the wrestling industry than John Cena ever did. So John Cena is going to get bumped down to A. And I think John Cena was there during an extremely important part of WWE's time period. But I think that Ric Flair walked. Now, he walked in crocodile boots, but he walked so others could run. Movie Bueno coming in with 1,000 bits. Thank you so much, Movie Bueno. Appreciate that. That's amazing. Work says this needs to be a high A and a low A. No, there's just A. There's just A. And I'm going to put Chris Jericho behind Ric Flair. Because I think when you look at everything that's attached to this, who put more butts in seats over their careers? Now, I think Jericho has been able to change his persona and do more with, you know, Ric Flair's had one persona pretty much his entire career. Woo! Styling and profile. Chris Flair's been able to be a chameleon his entire career, and it's fascinating, just the longevity. But I think Ric Flair probably put more butts in the seats, I think. But I think The Rock did more than Ric Flair. Who knows? Because he was there during the greatest period of wrestling ever, strictly statistically speaking. So Evan says, but Ric Flair did his best stuff in NWA and WCW. In WWE, he didn't do much compared. This is true, which is why he's here. This is Terry Blanchard, right? Terry Blanchard. I wish I could tell you I knew a whole lot about Terry Blanchard. I don't. I know he's like an agent in AEW now. He's just kind of annoying. So I'm just going to put him down here in C tier. I'm sure he was like a really important guy before I watched wrestling, but this is my list and I don't really care. Terry Funk. I think I've actually seen Terry Funk wrestle before, which is crazy to think about. I know a lot of people have a lot of admiration for Terry Funk. And he was around for a long, long time, and he just couldn't quit. Just out of, man, that's tough. Would more people? Would people pay more money to see him or Arn Anderson? Would more people be paying to see him than Shinsuke Nakamura? During his day, absolutely. Now, was I super interested in Terry Funk? Not really. He was past his prime when I was there, but that doesn't mean he didn't have tremendous impact. So I'm going to put him right here in front of RVD. And I know some people are like, I can't believe that. No, that's what it is. All right. Ziggler, Dolph Ziggler, one of the best sellers in history. a former WWE champion. But let's be real. The reason why Dolph Ziggler has been held back his entire career is because he's so great at losing. He's so good at selling. And for that, he's going to be remembered as a C-tier guy. But I actually think he's up here. He may be up here because he's so good. He actually talks very well, but he's such an excellent seller. But I think in the grand scheme of things, he's going to be thought of as a, I'm going to put him at B. I'm going to put him at B. I mean, the fact that he started off as a Spirit Squad member and he's still sticking around, that's amazing stuff. I'm going to put him higher in between Yokozuna and $1 Million Man as a B tier. Yeah. Shelton Benjamin. He's a C tier guy. He's just kind of a dude, you know. I would think more people want to see Shelton Benjamin than Dean Malenko. Goldberg changed the industry. The fact that he still wants to wrestle today, I'm going to put him and Cena around the same area. Look, I know that he's not the best wrestler in the world, but this is more about his impact that he's made. And he's openly said he's not a big wrestling fan. I don't care. You know, I wanted to be Goldberg. Who didn't name anybody during that time that didn't want to be Goldberg and see his giant neck and right? Like, come on. Goldberg was legit, right? So I'm going to put him here in the A tier behind Cena, just from the longevity standpoint. All right, let's get some people upset at me. AJ Styles. I think AJ Styles is right here. He's at the top of the B tier. I know that a lot of people love AJ Styles. He's awesome to watch. He's a tactician in the ring, and I think he's really fun. When he came to WWE, after being, once again, part of the Bullet Club and is running in TNA and all that stuff, he was a young guy in TNA, honed his craft. You could tell he's super special in the X Division, came over. But I think in the grand scheme of things, he doesn't move the needle like everybody else above him does. Andre the Giant. Good Lord, what an attraction this guy was. Sorry, Chris. Chris, you just got bumped down, man, and that's tough because Andre the Giant was the attraction. He was the attraction for the longest time. You know, we're not even going to get into the Hogan match. We all know about the Hogan match at WrestleMania 3, and you know, people talk, oh, it's the first time he's been slammed. Now he's been slammed many, many times before that. But Andre the Giant with his size 87 boot, drinking 6,000 beers at one time. I am. I think the fact that he was able to do so much without having to resort to a gimmick of woo, I think I'm going to put him above Ric Flair. I think I am. Ooh, yeah, the Macho Man coming in. I love the Macho Man. I think the Macho Man is the epitome of greatness in the world of wrestling, talking about taking skyrocketing roads to Venus and coming down and landing in the ring for the 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. Snapping to a Slim Jim. I would pay to see him over Roddy Piper. Is that just me being a dumb? Yeah, absolutely. But I love the Macho Man. Now, look, we're going to disregard his late time as a rapper and stuff. He was also in Spider-Man. Let's not forget that. Come on. A solid A-tier wrestler, man. Yeah. All right. Bradshaw. Man, talk about a guy who took his career and just totally flipped it upside its head. Bradshaw was a really impressive guy after he left the Acolytes. Kind of came into the what a great gimmick, being like this, I'm better than you, modern-day stockbroker guy. And apparently he's excellent with money. I mean, great for him. But I think in the grand scheme of things, I don't know, he was really hot when he was, and I think he will ultimately end up, let's put him above RVD, but behind Terry Funk. Ron Simmons, his partner. I'm going to put Ron Simmons, the first African-American WWF champion, I believe. I think that's the big talking point about Ron Simmons outside of the APA, and damn. But I think he is a B-tier wrestler, and obviously with an outstanding achievement attached to it. Cesaro or what's his name? Claudio. Claudio, man, what a fun wrestler to watch. But I think in the grand scheme of things, he doesn't really move the needle. He's like Shelton Benjamin tier. So, I mean, he's fun to watch. He's got his spinny spin, but, and he's the Swiss Superman or whatever. It's okay. Sheamus, I think less of you. I think you're right here. You're above Shelton Benjamin. Papa Shango scared the daylights out of me as a kid. But outside of the gimmick, just kind of a dude. I don't think I'd ever pay money to see Papa Shango. I think he is D tier. I think he is. British Bulldog. I will also put him as a guy who kind of got where he was. Sure, as a stud with his biceps and his steroids and his ultimate demise via heart attack. But I think that him being a part of the Heart Foundation and all that really benefited him. I'm going to put him above Dean Malenko. Who is this guy? Oh, that's the other British guy. God, what's his name? Chat? Tell me what his name is right here. Dynamite Kid. That's right. I'm sorry. I was okay. So Dynamite Kid was just a giant asshat. And if you watch any of these behind the ring or the dark side of the ring stories, there's one about him, and he was like just a horrible dude. And I just don't want to like him. And I'm sure he was like this master technician and all that stuff. But I'm going to put him down here just because he was such a jerk. All right. To my knowledge, the Big Boss Man may be the only guy ever hung in the ring. And what a great gimmick of just being a cop who beats the hell out of people. I'm going to put him above Sandman, but below the Lex Express, man. He's pretty boring, but man, beating the hell out of you with a nightstick, that's great stuff. Brock Lesnar. You want to talk about people who can move the needle. Brock Lesnar still moves the needle. Still to this day. He is an A-tier wrestler. Now, where in the A-tier, I don't quite know. He is a superhuman freak, this guy, in real life. The fact that he was like in the camp of the Minnesota Vikings and stuff, it's ridiculous. After being a all-world amateur wrestler, and Cowboy Brock is awesome too. I mean, come on. Yeah, I mean, he's totally roided up, but who cares? Is he S tier? No, I don't think he's S tier, but I do think in the grand scheme of things, Lesnar, oh man, is he more important than Goldberg? No. So I'm going to put Lesnar behind Goldberg. Yeah, I think I am. Because when Lesnar came up, everyone thought, oh, it's a new Goldberg, you know? And he stuck around a lot longer. And Cowboy Brock's pretty awesome. But I think I'm going to stick with this because I think Goldberg did more for the wrestling industry than Brock Lesnar did. So, all right. Kane. Oh, man, what a good, crazy wrestler. Now we got the Brothers of Destruction coming up. All right, we got Kane here. Kane. I'm going to put him B just as a placeholder. Kane is an all-time classic character. Talk about people who you'd pay to go see. I think Kane... This is tough because Kane by himself, does he move the needle? I think he does. And it's a great character as the brother of The Undertaker. Awesome stuff. I think Kane is right here. And this may be just recency bias based off the Macho Man. But I think Kane, in the grand scheme of things, will rank higher than Macho Man. His brother... The Undertaker is an S-tier wrestler. Sorry, Rick, you get moved down. Undertaker, obviously 30 whatever years of wrestling, was the last to keep kayfabe a real thing. So fun. Great stuff. I think he is above Andre. I think Undertaker is above The Rock because the streak was such a big thing. So I think Stone Cold and then The Undertaker, and these may flip, but I think I'm going to keep this right here. I have the right to adjust this as we go. So Undertaker, then Rock, then Andre, and here's Ric Flair. Once again, my rule, only four. This is Bruno Sammartino, longest reigning WWE champion, WWF champion, I believe. Is that right? Bruno Sammartino. I wish I could tell you I've seen a single match of his, but just out of respect, I'm going to put him right here. I know he was like, what was it, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. People talk about just off the accomplishment, I guess I'm going to put him an A because I don't know. I legitimately don't know. And I know that's not what I should be doing here, but I'm going to do it. So, all right. Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Talk about somebody who, man, what a funny gimmick, cutting off people's hair and stuff like that. But I don't think he was a big needle mover in the grand scheme of things. I'm going to put him right here about where the British Bulldog was. I'm going to move actually Shelton Benjamin behind these guys, because I think these guys would want to be seen more than Shelton Benjamin. And I got to be honest, I think these guys would want to be seen more than Cesaro and Sheamus. Carlito was he's a D-tier wrestler. I loved his gimmick when he came out. I spit in the face of the people who don't want to be cool. All right, now we got some good ones coming up here. All right, Sting, good Lord, the icon. All right, Sting is an A-tier wrestler, just a matter of where he fits in the grand scheme of things. The fact that he's still a draw today, when he went to AEW, that was major news. The fact that he was able to be the biggest face in WCW without saying a word for a year was amazing. I am going to say he fits right here. And the reason being is that Goldberg took WCW and took it to the next stratosphere. Sting was the guy who held the boat steady while it rocked. But he was the guy who was consistently there. But obviously Sting is amazing wrestler. Once again, we're talking Sting is like a top 10 wrestler at this point. So this is an incredible list. All right, DDP. Now, an incredible story around DDP. Started wrestling when he was 35, became a world champion when he was 40, was a previous bouncer. Now he's got DDP Yoga. I think it's amazing stuff. I'm going to put him right here as a B tier. I don't think he was ever able to move the needle like a lot of these guys were. And maybe I'm wrong with Shinsuke Nakamura being able to move the needle more than DDP. I mean, former world champion. But the thing I think of is like the stalker gimmick, right? It's like, I don't know. It didn't really do a whole lot for me. All right, the Dudley boys, Devon Dudley. Now here's the thing, not just Devon Dudley, but we're talking about Bully Ray Dudley. We're talking about the full pantheon of things, right? I think Bully Ray is awesome in his own place. I think that he's awesome in a promotion like TNA, and he's really, really raw. Like when he speaks from the heart, or at least makes you think like it. I think he was really amazing as a tag team character with the what's up and all that stuff with Devon. But I think he will ultimately be judged higher. And I will say more people wanted to see him than Arn Anderson. At least here. We'll start here. More people wanted to see him than they did the $1 Million Man at one point. Now his brother, I'm going to keep him as a B tier as well, but I'm going to put him below DDP. Just because he has that, he didn't have a successful singles career. And Spike Dudley, he's like a great ragdoll. He's probably the worst of the bunch on the entire list. Now he's like an accountant. Okay, now we got Mr. Ass, who is still wrestling today and looks so jacked up, it's ridiculous. Tried to get pushed, didn't really work out, but I do think that more people wanted to see him. He's like the top of the C tier, right? Suck it, and he wasn't even like the good talker between him and Road Dogg, who's next. I'm going to put them at C tier as well. Like they had their run. It was great. He was a better talker than this guy, but he's still wrestling. So, I think he's like more people paid for their merchandise than probably anybody else here. I think that's an accurate thing. X-Pac. Okay. I think X-Pac is a product of he had really good friends. Raven. Raven is a C-tier wrestler above Shelton Benjamin, who was, he was essentially a Nirvana character. He was like Kurt Cobain. That's really what it was. And I think he now does commentary and stuff, but I don't know. I think Raven is Raven was a cool character for like 6 months. You know, I know he's like the ECW, like you sit in the corner, he's all upset and depressed and stuff like that. Now people would get upset because he's, you know, because he's depressed and they'd want to get him help. So, Johnny Nitrain says, Raven is A tier, easily. No, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of this list. Mine is always going to be different. All right, Christian, at last you're on your own. And nobody really cared, let's be real. I'm going to put him back here around the Lex Express back here. Edge. Edge was exciting when he came back. I think Edge was pretty fun. I think he's had a better career than Christian has. And I'm going to put Edge above Tommy Dreamer. I'm going to put him as a B tier above Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah. And above Bradshaw. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for him to be at. I think more people paid to see more people paid to see Edge than they ever saw to see Bradshaw. Especially with Edge and Christian, for sure. So, Evan says, "Oh man, gotta get going early tonight, and we'll miss Hogan. Just remember, dude sold out arenas as a face and heel, changed business twice for WWF and WCW. So great. Listen, we'll get to him in a little bit. All right, Dave Batista. Man, all right, Batista. Big muscle guy, really cool in Evolution. The whole thumbs up, thumbs down thing. Had a great singles run, multiple time champion. But for me, once again, did he change anything? Did he do anything? I don't think he's A tier. I think that he is probably right around here. I think more people probably paid to see Bradshaw as a bad guy than they ever wanted to see Batista. But it depended on the feud they were in. But I think Bradshaw is probably better than Batista. All right, Triple H. All right, obviously an A tier. Now it's just a matter of where on the A tier is he. I think Triple H sees himself here, right? And if we're taking in the business aspect of things and stuff, that's fine. But I think realistically, he's probably like right here somewhere. And this is definitely some recency bias. I think some people would have Roddy Piper up here, right? But I think Triple H is probably about right here. I think more people came to see Sting than they came to see Triple H, because I think Triple H kind of got boring for a while. You know, he's got a great entrance, and the whole DX thing was awesome. But his singles run as a bad guy, I think he got kind of boring. It got boring watching him win and be bad guy, do bad guy stuff all the time. So, all right, let's continue on. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this, do me a favor. If you wouldn't mind, please head over and hit the thumbs up button. This is like really fun to do. Randy Orton. Oh boy. All right, Randy Orton. Talk about a guy you want to punch in the face. Good Lord. He is an A-tier wrestler because I think more people paid to see him get beat up than a lot of folks. I think that I think about his feud with Mick Foley. It was great. In the grand scheme of things, when people look back on Randy Orton's career, will they think of him higher or lower than Macho Man or Kane, or Roddy Piper? And I think they will. I actually think they will think higher than Macho Man. I mean, he's won like a zillion championships and stuff. I look at this as like championships are a prop. They're a prop. They lift up characters. They give meaning to characters. They don't really mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. Oh, Ric Flair won 17 championships. Okay, cool, whatever. The booker decided to give him the championship. That's fine. So I think I think Randy Orton firmly as a mid A tier wrestler. Let's continue on. His dad, Cowboy Bob Orton. As somebody, I never saw him wrestler. Just because he's holding a cowbell, I'm going to put him up here above Terry Blanchard. No, I'm not. I'm going to put him down here above X-Pac. I'm going to put X-Pac down here with what's I don't remember this guy. It's little guy, little Dudley Spike. There it is. Yeah, I'm gonna put him down there with that. I think I don't want to rag on him too much. He was just a guy. All right, Miz. Okay, the problem with Miz is that he came in as a reality TV guy. That's the biggest problem that Miz had. The stigma attached to him. His entire career, he was followed by that. He has been followed by that. I know a lot of people say he works so hard, and that's true. He's been a champion. He's really good. He's passionate about the business, but he's had that stigma attached to him his entire career. His entire career. I think he's a great wrestler, and I do think more people have paid to see him get beat up than Arn Anderson. So I'm going to put him as a B tier. He's had some great promos. I'm talking about like the Talkin' Smack promo with Bryan Danielson and Daniel Bryan, whatever. But I do think more people went to go see the Ultimate Warrior than they ever did to go see Miz. And I think the numbers back that up. But I'm just speaking off the back. All right, Chavo Guerrero. Oh, man, this is an interesting one. Chavo is a really fun character who's been elevated by, unfortunately, his brother or his cousin, his relatives, cousin, death. I think he's a C-tier wrestler above Raven and above Sheamus and above Brutus and above Sandman and above Big Boss Man. I think that's right where he fits. His uncle is an A-tier wrestler. It's just a matter of where his uncle is an A-tier wrestler. And I think when it came to putting butts in the seats, there was a time where Eddie Guerrero was gold. I mean, people wanted to see how he would lie, cheat, and steal his way to a win. I'm going to say he was above Randy Orton. And I think that as time has gone on, people think much more of him. But he was a really, really fun character. Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is an interesting character because as was pointed out, he was every kid's favorite character. Right? With his brother, Matt and Jeff Hardy. I think Jeff Hardy moved a lot of butts. I'm going to put him in B for now. And I will put him above just from a ticket moving standpoint. I think he's right here. I think he's right here, a B tier. I know some people, he's A tier, S tier. I think he's B tier. He was really high flying, and I think ultimately that's hurt him. But I do think more people have paid to see Edge get his ass kicked than Jeff by himself. Now his brother is above him. I think that he is right. I think his brother just like the delete. I think it's such a funny gimmick. And talking about being able to reinvent yourself, I think they're both like they're Hall of Famers. And by the way, when we're talking about like S, A, and B, we're talking about like top 30 wrestlers ever, right? So if AJ Styles is a B tier, it still means he's like one of the best in history. I'm just going off the list here. Let's not be all like, rah. All right. What's up, Trav? Good to see you guys. Hey, what's going on? Glad everybody's joined us. Electronic Aardvark, have a good night, buddy. We'll see you later. Thanks so much for being here. Cheesebuck says, if Pete Rose can be banned from Baseball Hall of Fame, Chris Benoit can be erased from pro wrestling. Okay. Wizard Patrick says, who do you think did not meet their full potential out of those we've seen so far? I don't really think that's a fair like that's not a question for me, right? That's a question for the booker. You know, like all these, we're pretty much judging these grown men off of the characters that they played. You know, and it's like, did you like this character? Did the character move enough butts? You know, MKO 619 coming in with that prime sub says Jeff Hardy is low A. He's B. B to me. Pope Tay TV says, liking Matt over Jeff is a fake opinion. It's like disliking titties and sunshine. it's what I like, whatever. And I like both those things. All right, Harley Race. Man, oh man, here we are. All right, Harley Race. You talk about a guy, like people say he's like one of the toughest dudes ever in wrestling. Once again, this is strictly based off me never seeing a match that Harley Race ever wrestled in, right? I've never seen a match. I just know the name. I know the aura around Harley Race. So I'm going to put him, I'm going to put him as A tier. I am going to put him in A, just based solely off his reputation. When I think in the wrestling industry, if you're still being talked about for a long time, Harley Race, just based off the reputation, whether or not I've seen a match or not, he's an A tier wrestler because people are still talking about Harley Race today. And that's pretty amazing. So, one of Triple H's mentors, apparently. So, all right, let's continue on. Ooh. Bret, the Hitman Hart. All right. Bret is an A-tier wrestler. Now, is he an A-tier wrestler? No, this is going to piss people off. This is going to make people so mad. Bret Hart will be placed. Look, I know that he is a stupendous tactician on the mat. I get it. And I know that he was one of the top baby faces in WWF for a long time. But if you're the top of the WWF, when the WWF is down, do you deserve to be on the same place as somebody who is mid-tier or almost to the top when it was at its peak? Just saying. I'm going to put him behind Goldberg, and I know Goldberg effectively ended his career, but once again, when Bret Hart came into WCW, he did not make the waves that Bill Goldberg did in WCW. There wasn't an aura around him. And I know the screw job, and I know the story behind it. I get it. But that's why Bill Goldberg is in front, because more people went in to buy tickets to see Goldberg than I think they ever did to see Bret Hart. That's the cold hard truth. Let's continue on. Jim the Anvil 9 Hart was a guy who got along from being in the Hart Foundation. He is a D-tier wrestler. Owen Hart. Okay. Owen Hart, the Blue Blazer. Owen Hart was a guy who never had an opportunity to live up to his full potential. A really fun wrestler to watch. But as I look through all these characters here, and I say, did more people go to see him or any of these guys? I don't know. I can't say that anybody did. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to put Owen Hart behind the New Age Outlaws. I'm going to do that because I think more people bought merchandise, wanted to see New Age Outlaws, got off their feet whenever the New Age Outlaws came out, as opposed to when Owen Hart came out. It is what it is. Oh, poor guy. Poor guy. Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, an A-tier wrestler. Talk about a guy who once again had everything, right? And was able to put it together. And yes, a giant dick, but was able to adapt through multiple iterations and still gets people off their asses if he was to come down to the ring today. I'm going to say Shawn Michaels, is he above Triple H or below Triple H? That's the hard question. They're like right there with each other. A great combo. DX, I know. I'm going to say he was above Triple H. He was kind of like the leader of the clique, the smarmy bad guy. Okay. So I'm going to put Shawn Michaels there. These are kind of like interchangeable. So, all right. Booker T. Yeah. What a meme guy. Meme train. Booker T. Okay. Where are you, Book? Five time. Yeah, I know. Went to TNA. And that's where a lot of these thoughts come from, right? Is when it comes to like the wrestlers that went from WWF or WCW, then to WWF, or then maybe to TNA, did they make people watch when they moved from one to the other, right? And I don't think Booker T really did that. But I do think that Booker T is really, really good at what he did and a really good announcer as well. I think he moved more more butts than AJ Styles did. And I will... He's like right here. He's a tweener. I'm going to put him at A just for fun, because why not? His brother, Stevie Ray. Right here. King Neon Laser Zebra with 100 bits says, I don't see him on the list, but the Hurricane is my favorite wrestler. Stand back. Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through. All right. Shane O'Mac. Here we are. Shane O'Mac, what a fun wrestler to watch, leaping from one side of the ring to the other. But would Shane be... I'll tell you, there was a time. I'll tell you this right now. There was a time where you'd watch to see what idiot thing Shane was going to do. Now, I think that Shane moved more tickets than all these guys. And once again, Shane headlined WrestleMania. I think Shane moved more tickets than Big Boss Man, but I think Shane is probably a C-tier wrestler just from the idea. Look, and I realize that Shane never would have had the opportunity if his last name wasn't McMahon. But Shane did some pretty gnarly things. Talking about jumping off scaffolding, doing his ring-to-ring post thing. He's pretty good. And I think he moved a lot of tickets from him. Now, I'm going to keep him at mid-C tier simply because out of respect for these guys who are actually like super stud wrestlers. So we'll just keep him there. Kurt Angle. Oh, man, one of the GOATs. One of the GOATs. Talk about WWF just totally lucking out. WCW or WWE lucking out. I think Kurt Angle, man, this is tough. I'm going to put him above Eddie. I think I'm actually going to put him above Kane. I think so. The milk truck coming down, when his music hits, obviously the original music of The Patriot, his music got recycled for him, and the "You Suck," I think Kurt, as a good guy, was one of the most lovable people you'd ever want to watch wrestle, and as a bad guy, was one of the most despicable people to ever watch, while still being able to do it in the ring. And he did it all with a broken freaking neck. And he did have a really good run in TNA. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Jeff Jarrett. Okay, let's get down to the brass tacks here. Jeff Jarrett is a guy who he's obviously become kind of a meme over the years. He wrestles in AEW now, but he started a promotion in TNA. He wrestled WCW. I mean, you don't want to talk about a lifer. This guy is a lifer. He's also part of the downfall of WCW in a major way. So as far as moving seats, he clearly wasn't able to do that in WCW. I don't think he's really ever done that by himself. And that's one of the biggest things when it comes to Jeff Jarrett. I think Jeff Jarrett is like right about here. He's a B-tier wrestler that thinks he's an A-tier wrestler, but he doesn't quite move the butts that he thinks he does. But I think he's a great promoter and booker. But we're just going off wrestling here. So, there we go. Kevin Owens. Oh man, we still got a lot to go. Kevin Owens is a fun one to think about. Once again, indie darling, came to WWE. I think that Kevin Owens would be a guy who could skyrocket if they just took the chains off Kevin Owens. Between him and Sami Zayn, I think they would be running WWE if they let him do what Kevin Owens does. But they don't. So I think does he move more butts, puts more seats in the butts than these guys? And I think he does. I think Kevin Owens is better than The Miz. Did he ever move more seats, more butts than the Ultimate Warrior? No, I don't think so. I do think that he is better than Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm going to actually make an adjustment there. I think Shinsuke is better than him. RVD. I'm going to do some flip-flopping here, just because why not? I think this is fair. I think that's good right there. So here we got high tier B, mid tier B, and low tier B. So there's your tiers, right? All right, Tajiri. All right, he's obviously had a tremendous career overseas. We got all sorts of fun green mist in WWF back in the day. But let's be real. Tajiri primarily was like a European champion or a guy who wrestled on Sunday Night Heat. He's here. He's a DT. He never really did a whole lot. Rey Mysterio. Man, talk about a guy who's still going, which is crazy. Now wrestling with his son. Insane. When, everyone remembers his little son when he was in. Now his son is like a good bad guy, after turning on his dad and all that stuff. Rey Mysterio is... this is tough. Booyaka, booyaka. 619. I am thinking just between his career down in Mexico, career overseas, career in WWE and WCW, the longevity. I'm going to put him as an A-tier wrestler. I think more people have... I think he's moved more butts than... He's definitely sold more merchandise than a lot of these folks. I'm going to say he's right here. Mid-tier A. Above Macho Man, but behind Randy Orton. I think more people wanted to punch Randy Orton in the face than they wanted to cheer Rey Mysterio Jr. Mr. Perfect, man, what a fun gimmick. I think about the gimmick of Mr. Perfect in WWF. Then I think about him going to WCW and being a part of the NWO and being absolutely irrelevant. So with that said, I think Vince created Mr. Perfect. And if we're going off Mr. Perfect, he's probably like a B tier, maybe even he'd be like a high B tier. But I think in the grand scheme of his entire career, I'm going to say that he is a C tier wrestler right there. And I think he's right on the bridge here. Right on the bridge. Now we got the New Day. Okay, so we got the New Day with Big E. Big E, former champion. I think of all the guys who are in New Day, Big E and Kofi are like the studs, and then there's Xavier Woods, who it pains me because I like Austin a lot. Austin is a great dude, really smart guy. Works his butt off. Started up, down, down. Really changed WWE, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Big E, I don't think many people are really going to care about Big E in like 10 years. I know it's crazy. And here's the thing. Big E's going to be a Hall of Famer. And there's so many memes. But when you look back on this era of WWE, you'll say the New Day. You won't say Big E. You'll say the New Day. The New Day was the trend, not Big E. But they were, oh man, that's tough. Okay, if I was ranking these as a tag team, which I'm not, I would put the New Day as an A tier, right? Because they moved butts. They moved merchandise. Trust me, they've done excellent. They're going to be Hall of Famers. Big E, Kofi, and Xavier will all be Hall of Famers when they retire. I promise you that. But Big E as a solo wrestler, I think he's like right here. And I think I actually may move Shelton Benjamin down, which sucks because he's a pretty good wrestler. Yeah, I think that's where Big E belongs. Kofi, likable dude, came out Jamaica, boom, boom, boom. I get it, right? It's awesome. It's fun. Won the championship, great underdog story, super fun to talk about. Probably more successful. I think more people wanted to see Kofi win than they ever wanted to see Big E win. I am going to go with Kofi. Once again, did he move more? Did he put more butts in the seats than any of these guys? And that's the question I ask myself. Probably more accomplished, has a great gimmick in the Royal Rumble about not hitting the ground or having, bouncing off. I'm I'm going to move him up to B. Just based off the storyline of him winning the championship. And yeah, he got totally throttled the next time. He got throttled with it get taken off, and that's just the way it goes. So I will say Kofi is right. I think this is like a low B tier. I think Kofi is a low B tier wrestler. All right, once again, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, right? But I think that in the grand scheme of things, Austin Creed, Xavier Woods, his USA gimmick over in TNA, up, up, down, down. I think he's awesome. I think he's a really great guy. I'm actually, I look at the guys on here and I say, would more people care to see him than these guys? And they would. I'm going to move Terry Blanchard down, and I'm going to move Dean Malenko down. I'm going to move him up. And I'm going to move him above Shelton Benjamin. Oh, look, just conveniently right next to his buddy. Okay. Hey, yo. Scott Hall. Talk about a dude who didn't just change, wasn't just a seat mover. He was a ratings mover, right? Scott Hall was an A-tier wrestler. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. This guy moved butts. And I'm tempted to put it, I think once again, between him and Kevin Nash, they literally made people switch from WWF to WCW. They were part of the NWO, which was the biggest storyline in wrestling history as part of the NWO. And god dang, as I look at this, I'm like, God, yeah, I think I am. I think I'm going to do it. I think I am. I'm going to put him up here just based off the NWO alone. Just based off the NWO, because these were the coolest characters in wrestling. And he was an awesome bad guy. Awesome. And I put him over Sting because, once again, I think more people wanted to hate Scott Hall or thought he was cool than Sting at his peak. Hulk Hogan. Okay, here we are. Hulk Hogan. Evan was right when he mentioned this. Hulk Hogan is an S-tier wrestler. Sorry, Andre, we can only have 4. Now, the question is, where is he in the grand scheme of things? All right? Once again, a good guy and a bad guy. Sold out both times. I know, 5 moves, whatever, right? Is he number 1? Possibly. He was the face of wrestling. He was the John Cena of wrestling before we got started. Is he? But golly, but once again, Stone Cold took wrestling to a place it's literally never been. Stone Cold was the hottest wrestler at the hottest time in wrestling history. With the most crazy gimmicks. Talk about a guy who reinvented himself. Well, we'll get to Stone Cold. I think we're here. I think we are here. I think we're here. With Stone Cold, Hogan, Undertaker, Rock. And once again, some of these would still be S-tier wrestlers, but you can only have 4. So sorry, it is what it is. Let's continue on. Kevin Nash. I'm going to put him right next to his buddy up here. Kevin Nash, right up here in A tier. Look, once again, strictly based off. Now, I think that Scott Hall was a better wrestler. But once again, strictly from the NWO, right? The idea of moving butts, moving controllers, flipping from WWF to WCW, Kevin Nash did more than a lot of these guys. He literally changed wrestling, whether you like it or not. And he's got a great podcast. Look, I know. He's a C-tier wrestler. He's a D-tier wrestler. Look, I know. But once again, you wanted to watch him. You bought the NWO merchandise, right? It is what it is. I know he's not the best wrestler in the world. I know. Kind of a dick. I get it. But I may revisit him. I don't know. We'll see. CM Punk, the best in the world. All right, CM Punk. Let's talk about good old Phil. Phil has like a like a superiority complex. And that's the one thing that I always get from I'll tell you this, when he went to AEW, I didn't cry as a 41-year-old dude or 40-year-old dude when it happened, but I was giddy like a 13-year-old boy, like a 12-year-old, like a 10-year-old. I was ecstatic. And he made me, and you talk about a guy who made people switch. He made people switch. And was it the layoff of 7-8 years? Probably. But I think CM Punk, people wanted to see CM Punk, right? But I think Chicago wanted to see CM Punk more than anywhere else. And I think the idea of like, I'm a Chicago guy, I gotta do Chicago. Like, now I do think that more people wanted to see him than all these folks. And when you put it that way, you go, well, I think more people wanted to see CM Punk than they wanted to see Booker T. And I think more people wanted to see CM Punk than they wanted to see maybe Mick Foley. And that may be true, but it's my fucking power ranking. So I'm going to put him at the top tier B list just because he's just such a prick, and it just follows it. Drama follows him everywhere he goes, you know. And if you looks like a skunk, it smells like a skunk. It's probably a skunk. All right, Hardcore Holly. I'm going to put him at the D tier, and I'm going to put him down here. Just because he beat the holy hell out of Matthew Pewter. If you've never watched that before, if you've never watched the beatdown that he gave to Matthew, I think it's Matthew Pewter, it's ridiculous. Like, you want to talk about like what's wrong with professional wrestling? I think he was like a great example of what was wrong with it, and also probably everything that was right with it at the same time. There was a lot of right and also a lot of wrong. I get the idea of respecting and stuff, but just going in and beating the hell out of somebody in front of 10,000 people. Now, once again, I think more people wanted to see him than Tajiri. It is what it is. All right, Rick Rude. I think Rick Rude was like a C-tier wrestler. I'm going to put him like, you know, I'm put him like right here. I'm putting him above Shelton over here. All right, Rick Rude. You know, he's got great abs. Had great abs. He knows what it is. So you guys talking about him being over Luger. Yeah, I don't know. Just kind of taking another glance here. There's a lot going on here. Lots going on here. Him over Luger. I don't know. Let's continue on. I said I may make some changes at the tail end of this. All right. Sexual Chocolate. Mark Henry. When he had his House of Pain gimmick, it was one of the best. I mean, it was definitely the best time of his career, right? His House of Pain gimmick was awesome. I wish they kept it longer when he was just a bad motherfucker. And that was such a great gimmick. But the problem was, it wasn't. He didn't hold on to it for a very long time. When he was a champion, it was great. When he came out and he retired, and then he didn't, that was great. He was best as a heel, but they tried to keep him as a face a lot. And I think Mark Henry, while, yes, a WWE Hall of Famer, once again, I think all these guys are Hall of Famers in some way, shape, or form. And as I look at this, I think I'm going to be making some adjustments to the B tier here in a second. I'm going to put him as a low B tier. I think that he moved more butts than Yokozuna ever did. Maybe I'm wrong. The Big Show. Big Show. Very talented in that he's 7 foot whatever. Paul White, I never really saw the allure of him. Kind of had like one move with his choke slam and stuff. I never really had much desire to see him. He had this like wishy-washy character where sometimes he's a good guy and sometimes he's a bad guy. But I'm going to go through and make him like a D tier. And I think that's fair, looking at everybody in front of him. Crabs, what? But what about Captain Insano? Oh, man. I love it. He goes, what? What? That's right. 20 heels, 20 face. Yeah, that's right. It's crazy. All right. Let's talk about the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. All right. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. This is a tough one, man. I never saw him wrestle. I mean, I guess I've seen him when he was in the black and the yellow polka dots. Just based off of the aura attached to him, I'm gonna make him an A tier. Once again, it goes back to when you've done something for a long time and you have the reputation of being a trendsetter, being a somebody who changed the game. I'm gonna put him in an A. He was a booker for a long time, so I'll put him at like a low A, right? Gold Dust. All right, we got all the roads coming in here. He obviously never amounted to much. I say he didn't amount to much. Goldust was a great character. I think more people cared about Goldust at his prime than they cared about Big Show at his prime. Because Goldust was just weird, man. Just what a weird. But like, I will say this: the fact that he's still going and he now has like the blue and red face paint and stuff. He kind of lost his steam when Cody left for WWE. He's going to be a D tier though, but I think he's like a high D tier. I think more people cared about Goldust than they ever did about Big Show. All right, Cody. He's kind of like the hot one now, right? I'm going to put Cody as a B tier, and I think Cody, because I mean, we talk about once again changing wrestling. He started a federation, his own indie company wrestling, AEW, and I think that's amazing. And I know that he's like super hot right now. People want to see him come because they want to see him return, but I don't think he's ever going to be able to amount to what his dad did. So I'm going to say he's like a B tier wrestler, and actually I'm going to put him behind CM Punk because while Cody started AEW, people started watching AEW because of CM Punk. At least that's when they saw their peak, their jump. So. I'm going to put in the whole picture of Cody here with AEW. So we'll kind of go there. Rhino. Well, you've been around. You're down here with Carlito. All right. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Okay. Now this is where things are going to get a little silly. I know he's a legend and he had some great matches and stuff. I think he's like a C tier wrestler. I really enjoyed playing him in WWE All Stars. He was a really fun character in that. Great physique, man. I do think that all three of these guys sold more merchandise, put more butts in the seats than Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Maybe I am totally underselling it because I was not alive when he was at his absolute peak. Which I probably will. So you can tell me about it in the comments down below. So I know some people, he's B tier. Well, once again, we're dealing with like top 50 wrestlers of all time. So, all right, man, these guys were awesome in like the 90s for like 2 years. Legion of Doom, they were really, really cool. And I'm going to put them like in, I'm going to put them as a combo unit as a low C tier. Because here's my reason behind this, and I'm going to put them above Shelton because they're not nearly as cool as the New Day, but I do remember people seeing people create their own. Even like at football games now, they still replicate the Legion of Doom like spikes on the shoulder pads and stuff. Nick says Legion of Doom S tier, right? As a team, but as individuals, I don't know, man. That's tough. We're once again, I'm looking at like what they did as a unit, right? And yes, you're right. As individuals and as a unit, yeah, they may be up here with A. They're not S for sure. They'd probably be B if it was a unit, but we're looking at individuals. All right, Samoa Joe. Okay, Samoa Joe, man. This is the guy that everybody. Talk about a guy who just hasn't quite had it, man. He's the indie darling dude that everybody wants to love, and He's been a champion on multiple federations, been the NXT champion. He's doing stuff in AEW now. But I think that, I think there was a riff that was done on Samoa Joe recently in AEW where the scissoring guys, they came out and the Acclaim, they came out and they made a joke on Samoa Joe, and they were 100% right. He said, like, Samoa Joe was the champ of NXT when AEW was destroying NXT. And I think that tells you pretty much all you need to know. I think he's really popular to a small group of people, but he's not, it's like a very vocal minority. And he's fun to watch. And by the way, he's really fun to watch. His fake outs when people are diving down, he just kind of walks out of the way. Awesome stuff. I love it. So I'm going to put him at like a high C tier. I think I am. Below Kevin Owens. Below Ron Simmons, below Kofi. Yeah, I think that's fair. C tier. Vader. It's Vader time. All right. Vader was scary as shit for a long time, man. I was scared of Vader. I think Vader is... that's right. I'm going to move Shelton Benjamin down. Sorry, Shelton. I'm going to put Vader as like a guy we fondly remember for his time in like the 80s and early 90s, in his time wrestling over in Japan and all that stuff. But I think that Vader in the grand pantheon of things is like a C, borderline D. But I'm going to keep him as C. The Iron Sheik. Oh, baby. All right, the Iron Sheik. Man, his Twitter game alone is going to move him up to C. And I'm going to put it, just based off his Twitter game, just for fun, just for the memes, I'm going to put him right here. Sergeant Slaughter. Hey, USA. Look, I'm going to put him above Iron Sheik because they battled. But yeah, I think Sergeant, like, we're talking like, Sergeant Slaughter during the 80s, USA, blah, 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 blah. I know you're saying he's A tier, he's B tier, or whatever. And maybe. You know what? Yeah, I do think he is above. I think more people cared about him than Mark Henry, than Yokozuna, than The Miz, Kevin Owens. All right, right there, B tier. I think that's where he lands, right here. I think more people cared about Sergeant Slaughter than they did Kevin Owens, but less people cared about Sergeant Slaughter than they did the Ultimate Warrior. All right, Nick Volkoff, obviously, the big red scare, Russia. Everyone loves a good bad guy. So, but once again, this is based off total recency bias. I've never watched a match, but I do love that he had the balls to go down to a ring with at a time where it was, USA. I'm going to put him above Shelton because I got to be honest, I don't really know a whole lot about him, but superstar. All right. Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley. I'm going to piss some people off. Yes, he's like the workhorse of AEW. And yeah, he's been the champion multiple times. But for me, Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, he's like just a glorified like indie guy who likes to get cut a lot. And his theme is so generic. The wild thing. It's like, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've never really liked him. I really never really liked him. He's just an indie dude who likes to get cut a lot. And yeah, I'm going to put him like as a C tier. And I'm going to put him above. How about this? I'm going to put him above Christian. I'll do this. I'll put him right here. Above Christian, below Joe, below Mr. Perfect, but above the New Age Outlaws. I think that's fair. Roman Reigns, good Lord. Talk about a guy who's been pushed down your throats, who just never got it, but then all of a sudden got it. Roman Reigns for the longest time was a C-tier wrestler, but his character now as the head of the table makes him an A-tier wrestler. I think more people, and the fact that he's held, the tribal chief is great. I think more people care about Roman Reigns than ever cared about Randy Orton. I think more people cared about Roman Reigns I'm careful to say this, but I think that he's more impressive than Kane. I think that's where he belongs right there. I think that's fair. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring this guy down. I'm going to bring Kevin Nash down a low tier A behind all these other guys. Just out of respect for what these other dudes have done. All right, Seth Rollins. Once again, we're talking about a guy who has been around forever. And was part of the Shield. What a great foundation. Great gimmick. I think more people care about Seth Rollins than a lot of people on this list. On C, I think he is like a B tier wrestler. Now, is he above the $1 Million Man? Yeah. Is he above Bubba Ray? I think he's above Jeff Jarrett and above The Miz. This is tough, man. I think this right here. That's a tough one right there. That's tough. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think so far? I hate humanity. Wants to know where do I put Vince McMahon? As a wrestler, D. As a business guy, S plus. You'd have Seth next to Nash. The question I keep going to is, do more people care about Seth Rollins than they do the Ultimate Warrior? Do more people care about Seth Rollins than they do CM Punk? And I don't think so. I think that Cody has more going for him than Seth Rollins has ever had in his WWE career. So I'm going to put him above AJ, but below Cody. All right, Scott Steiner. All right. Oh, this is not Scott. This is the other Steiner. Steiner Brother 2. The Steiners as a group were super fun. Steiner as a brother, a singles. Nah. All right. Listen, Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner has a 33 1/3 chance of being a solid B tier. Big Papa Pump, man. Let's go. I love me some B tier. Oh my God. I love him. I'll tell you this. I think Scott goes right here just based off those wonderful biceps above Ultimate Warrior. I mean, the meme aspect of things, good Lord, what a stud. And now he owns a Shoney's. Taz, the human submission machine. ECW prodigy, never had a chance to fully show it, and now he's an announcer. Great, good for Taz. I think Taz is like a D tier wrestler, and I know he had an awesome entrance when he first came in. All the orange coming out and the like it was really great. The choking things out, but I think his son Hook will do way more than Taz ever did. Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan. Here we are as our list is nearly complete. Bryan Danielson, once again, the indie darling. Do people care about Bryan Danielson, a former WWF champion? Obviously, or a WWE champion. Obviously, the Yes Movement, that was huge at its time. Let's put that in perspective. You had people in the ring. It was a major movement in wrestling, not necessarily outside of things. Now, you did see the Yes pop up at occasional sporting events, which was pretty cool to see. I think that's just a product of a great gimmick. I think that Bryan Danielson, more people care about him than CM Punk. And I think he's a better wrestler than Kevin Nash. And I think that his Yes... see, here's the thing I'm going to put him right here. And let me tell you why I'm not going to put him higher than Mick Foley. Because Mick Foley, when he won the WWF Championship, that was a major move for the WWF WCW ratings war. That was a major move, right? His championship win did that. I don't think that that's what ever happened. I know that it happened at I think it was WrestleMania, whatever. It was like a big pay-per-view when he won the title, But I don't think that more people tuned in to see him win than they did Mick Foley win the Knicks championship. But still A tier. It's pretty awesome. So, all right. The Great Khali. Good Lord. What a shit wrestler. I'm going to put him down here above Abdullah the Butcher. Just because he's won a championship. It's crazy. All right. Kevin Von Erich. Know him. Know of the wrestler. As a matter of fact, in the Dallas area where I'm from, was a big player at the Sportatorium, where I think that's what it was called. It doesn't exist anymore. I never saw him wrestle. Never saw him wrestle, but I know that people still talk about him. The Von Erichs are royalty, or at least they were royalty for a long, long time before many of them died. I think just based off of his reputation, I'm going to go with him right here. Right here, low C tier. Yes, Greg the Hammer Valentine. Here's the thing. I've seen him post his wrestling career, he seems like he's the nicest guy ever. Like, whenever I see him in videos or see any sort of documentary about him or documentary about wrestling, he always seems like the nicest guy. And I could be told, I don't know anything about him outside of what I've seen in those. Maybe, I don't know. But I would say he's like a legend in his own mind, I guess. But I would say he's like right here. Above, probably below Big Show, above Dean Malenko, above the Hollies. All right. William Regal, as we finish up our list tonight. We finish up our tier ranking. By the way, this has been quite the list. Appreciate it if you guys have stuck around. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you guys haven't. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. William Regal, as we finish up our list. One of the best heels possibly in wrestling. One of the best mentors in wrestling, by all accounts. Right? This guy has done so much for wrestling. But is he a needle mover? And I think that when I look at this list, I think all of these guys right here moved the needle more than William Regal. So I'm going to put him as a mid-C tier right here. Above Big Boss Man, above Vader, above Raven. And there we go. Let's take one more quick list. So our S tier consists of Stone Cold, Hogan, Undertaker, and Rock. Very fair. Ric Flair and Andre right outside. Chris Jericho, a personal favorite of mine. John Cena, whether you love him or hate him, an A tier. Lesnar, Brett, Scott Hall. Scott Hall may be rated a little too high. But once again, the reason why I had him up here with him was based solely off of the NWO. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll keep him there. It's okay. Like, if you disagree, let me know down in the comments. Shawn Michaels, I'm looking through. I don't see anything wrong with any sort of A tier here as I'm reviewing. Once again, Cody is here based off of the AEW launch. We got Terry Funk. Yeah, I feel confident with this. I really do. I don't see any real glaring mistakes. But if we do disagree, please let me know in the comments. Now, if you made it this far, hit the subscribe button. I'd love to see you again. More power ranking videos coming soon here on my channel. You guys have a great day.